Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Cleanpin. Wow, a lot to discuss, and we are episode, I believe this is 19 of Cleanpin. I hope everything is going well, guys, and Cleanpin is a vidcast podcast. We talk about all the news and rumors from wrestling over the past week that we had not had the chance to get into on this channel. And this channel is From the Bleachers Sports Show. And we cover sports, MMA, basketball, football, baseball, everything that you could think of. So give that channel a like. Check out my other channels. It would mean a lot. Dankeschön, as we say. Dziękuję. So, I guess, where do we start? Now, with probably the big news that transcends, sports, wrestling, is the coronavirus. Nearly every sport, if not all sport, has suspended, the NCAA has suspended March Madness. Opening day has been pushed back a couple of weeks. Hockey has been suspended. Basketball has been suspended indefinitely. And Wrestlemania still remains up in question, up in arms. Imagine having a Wrestlemania. I don't know if this is, I believe this is just the governor of New York, which is where I'm from. He's recommended that in large groups that you or I believe it's even banned, large groups of 500 people or more. That's, I believe, in New York. So with this Wrestlemania being in Florida, well, that's two separate things. But if and this is still be determined. There's no word on what will exactly happen. But if you're looking at it, WrestleMania is about 3 weeks away, right? If you're looking at it, how everything has unfolded, NBA, NHL, soccer, WrestleMania could be moved. I don't know if it'll be canceled, but it could be very well moved. Imagine WrestleMania being in the Performance Center. Can you imagine that? Probably. That would be the lowest attended WrestleMania. You have trivia, you have all this trivia breaking attendance each and every year. Well, this would definitely break the attendance for lowest people in attendance. Now, whether it doesn't matter, what side of the coin you're on. Whether you think this is a legit threat, whether you think this is overblown. It's very likely that WrestleMania would be canceled. Me personally, I don't think it's as serious as people are saying it is, or as the media is trying to hype it to be. I really don't. I think you gotta be cautious. If you're standing around someone that's sick, wouldn't be standing there. If someone looks sick, I wouldn't be standing there. I would move. I am still under the premonition and thought, listen, now I don't know if this is going to happen, but my solution, and keep in mind already that you have the travel ban in place. So, people in Europe that had tickets, well, they're not able to go to WrestleMania. They won't be able to hop on that flight to WrestleMania. Now listen, my suggestion is, maybe give out gloves, hand sanitizers, masks. Maybe that would work. I'm sure the WWE could afford it. It would probably be even like, like some type of a write-off. You could have it sponsored. But even with that being said, if you think about it, now that the hype and everyone's concerns and everyone's concerned, it's already out there. So it really doesn't matter if WrestleMania is on or not. Being that it's so hyped and the scare is already on, people still might not even show up. Just because they're scared to now. They're scared. And that's, no one wants to take a chance. But I think, that maybe would, masks, hand sanitizers, gloves, maybe that would make people go to the event if WWE were to do it. At least give the fans an option, provide them with something. I don't know. It's just, it's really turning out to be a, quite the messy situation. Just looking at this past Monday Night Raw, Ajstyles had a promo on The Undertaker that pretty much hit it out of the park. How many times have you seen, or how many times do you know of where, a wrestler is doing a promo against The Undertaker and he is giving a thumbs up to say Mark Calaway. The Undertaker is no longer The Undertaker. He is humanized. You're humanizing him by calling him Mark Calaway. The dead man even has a wife, did AJ Styles did tell you. And her name is Michelle McCool. So now we have AJ calling the Undertaker the dead man, who we all, WWE wants you to believe is the dead man. This man with mythical powers. So now, well, now he really has a name. Mark Calloway. And guess what? He has a wife, Michelle McCool. And guess what? The Undertaker, no, is not the dead man. No, he does not live forever. He, in fact, is human, says AJ Styles. He's old. And he should have retired. But he hasn't. Well, because you're pretty much insinuating that Michelle McCool is just pushing you on to the WWE stage. He should have retired, he says. And the beauty of this promo is that there is some truth to it. He should have retired. That's what everyone on the internet was saying. He should have retired. But he didn't. Comes back. Year after year after year. Fighting at Wrestlemania. Pretty powerful promo. Heck, if I'm just looking at it, if I remember correctly, Michelle McCool used almost like a version of the Styles Clash. I believe. It looks something very similar to the Styles Clash. Maybe in an upcoming Raw or something. Maybe AJ Styles will bring that up. Hey, listen. Michelle McCool, actually, she idolized me, Undertaker. She loved me. She loves me, Undertaker. Look, you see that move? She's doing the Styles Clash. She's not doing a tombstone. She's not doing old school. Because you know what? She doesn't love you. She loves me. The phenomenal AJ Styles. My only problem with this, not even a problem, because it was a strong promo. But I might question, and maybe you have this question, maybe a part of you questions this and says, well, if we're supposed to have suspension of disbelief that, well, in fact, the Undertaker is the dead man and he truly is dead, why are we breaking down? Why are we stripping down the Undertaker? Why are we giving him a name as Mark Calloway now? And why are we knowing that he has a wife and family, Michelle McCool? Aren't we supposed to keep that suspension of disbelief that, well, the Undertaker is the dead man, right? If you get what I'm saying. Speaking of AJ Styles, he was also on WWE Backstage. And he was talking about talents like Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, who are on the up and now are on the downside, right? And he says that, you just got to be ready for it. You just always got to keep yourself ready. and realize what it is, that you cannot be on top forever. You know, Ricochet suffers 2 losses, right? And all of the internet wrestling fans already think that, you know, he's being, I don't know, that he's being buried. Listen, if you're on TV, on main primetime TV, I don't know exactly how does that constitute, or how does that equate to being buried. Now, I'll say it again, I will say it many times. You can't win every single time. You will lose eventually. I mean, look at what Ajstyles has said is true. I mean, look at other feds. What you're telling me that? Look at AEW, for example. Where's Michael Tozawa, for example? Have you seen what he does on the indies? Michael Tozawa, if utilized right, it could be something big. So you're telling me he comes on to AEW to be essentially a jobber and not even appear on TV regularly? So you think that's what Michael Tozawa has signed up for? Do you think that's what he envisioned? Or do you think he realizes, hey, I might not have my spot yet, but, you know, let me get my feet wet, and, you know, let me work my way back. Listen, the point I'm trying to make is no matter what fed you look at, not everyone could be on top all the time. You have to have other stars, other talents, get their share of the shine and see what they could do. It's all cyclical. You know, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, everyone thought that these people are buried. They're buried. And all of a sudden, last year, they form as a tag team. And their story is told for a couple of months. Then they become tag champs. And now, you know, they're back, you know, back in the background again. I wouldn't say that's buried. You know, buried to me is guys that don't even get the guys that are staying home. Where's EC3? I mean, so listen, I agree with Ajstyles. You guys on the internet have to relax a little bit. Everything is cyclical. You can't have the shine on you all the damn time. It's impossible. It's impossible. Congratulations are in order to Davey Boy Smith. Announced into the Hall of Fame. I was a big fan of Davey Boy Smith. I remember him being with the British Bulldogs, and that was a team that was over, real fan favorites, and then there were also heels as well. But I remember the British Bulldogs, that team of Davey Boy Smith. I remember him with the Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid just, man, was reckless in every sense of the word. But his aerial moveset, was amazing, and he, amazing. A lot of wrestlers kind of, probably even now, you probably even hear it now. A lot of wrestlers kind of catered, styled, or modeled their wrestling style, they compared it to, Dynamite Kid. And the British Bulldog, I remember, he was the power. He was the power. He was the force there. Feuds with the Hart Foundation. You remember Davey Boy Smith in Wembley Stadium against Bret Hart as well. He was definitely a player in the WWF. Definitely a player in the WWF. My favorite version of him was, when he was with the British, when he was with the Bulldogs, the British Bulldogs, and I believe the dog's name was Matilda too. So that team was a favorite. Going up against Demolition as well. It's sad, and will we ever see the British Bulldogs in there as a tag team? I don't know. There's so much history when you look at the history of the Dynamite Kid that I think the WWE is kind of sour on. So I don't know. I don't know if. And he was never, and recently he wasn't on good terms with WWE. So I don't know if that is eventually buried and that's forgiven, because you know how politics work. The British Bulldogs were definitely favorite tag team of mine. He went on to WCW as well. Not really, that was at the tail end of his career. His son also had a cup of coffee here in the WWE. Now is MLW. Was in Japan as well. So he's doing good for himself too. But the British Bulldog, one of my all-time favorites. That power slam that he used to do. He used to hold his opponents up in the air. No, he used to hold them up, and all the blood rushing to the hair, to the head rather, and then he would just, do the suplex. That just had so much force, and was doing when he used to wrestle. It was, very believable to me. So congratulations to Davey Boy Smith on going into the Hall of Fame. Rob Gronkowski also signs with the WWE, and apparently he will be appearing on SmackDown this coming week. Apparently, I don't know. Who knows? With the way things are now, it might be canceled and that might be all moved around. But, as of right now, anyway, Gronkowski has, in fact, signed with the WWE. And I don't know what Gronkowski really would do in the WWE. You have seen him, he's friends with Mojo Rawley, and, you've seen various pictures of him with Mojo Rawley. You've seen pictures of him, with Triple H. And Gronk loves to have fun. But let's be perfectly honest. I cannot see Gronk becoming a wrestler. Gronkowski, listen, he has money. He's made a ton of money playing football. He has a ton of endorsements, I'm sure. With the amount of charisma, with the amount of charisma that a guy like Gronk has, I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities that would arise for him that are far less physical than, let's say, being a WWE wrestler. So he, in fact, will appear on SmackDown. What will Gronk do? Maybe I think obviously they want to have him involved in WrestleMania somehow. If in fact, WrestleMania will go on. I think he could be like a good social media guy, kind of like a good ambassador for the WWE. Now I know a lot of the WWE has a lot of ambassadors, but do you have an ambassador that's like Gronkowski, who's pretty much known, has credibility amongst all the areas of sports. And I think that's a guy, that's something like a guy that Gronk would be able to reach. He's going to be able to reach the UFC fan, the NFL fan, the MLB fan when he speaks, that might, those fans that think wrestling is, you watch wrestling, you watch that crap. Maybe if Gronk speaks, then those people's mindsets might change about wrestling, and they will give it a peek. I'm sure that's what WWE is hoping for. Anything to improve the ratings, for it to go up, something to get new fans, because this is what you need. You need more fans. Because right now, if you look at statistics, there aren't really new fans of wrestling. It's pretty much, the fans that, let's say, watched WWE NXT, now split off and they watch. They go half and half, and one half watches AEW and the other half now watches NXT. So it's not like there is more wrestling fans per se. And I think that's something that Gronk would be able to do. Be like a social media ambassador. And the other option, the other way here is, listen, now I don't know how much how much does WWE want to invest in Mojo Rawley? You remember Mojo Rawley, the Hype Brothers? Then that changed. Mojo Rawley started, doing vignettes, talking to Amira. He eventually debuted with some face paint on. And then he, was the 24/7 champion for a little while there, and then he disappeared again. So a guy, honestly, at this point, it kind of seems like it's a last straw. A guy like Mojo Rawley could possibly benefit from a guy like Gronk in his corner as a manager, as some type of a presence, something. Because unfortunately, I think with Mojo Rawley, there really seems to be a little bit of indifference. And indifference is not good at all. Not good at all. Booker T on a recent podcast was saying how he's not sold on Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. And Listen, I will agree with you on that. He thinks that, something is missing. I will agree with him on that. There was again, indifference in what Shayna Baszler did at the Elimination Chamber. No one really seemed to care, honestly. And Becky Lynch, she's morphed from like the man to being like very I don't know, very very cringy, very cringe. Like Becky, what are you doing? Like the outfits and I don't know, it's not clicking. And I know it's not her fault. It's, this is written for her. But she no longer seems to be like the man. She seems to be a cringe, Becky Lynch. And fans are starting to resent her, like what they did, with Seth Rollins, where the fans starting resenting Seth Rollins until they eventually had to turn him heel. I don't know. Like it's missing something. It's missing something. Was the brutality on that Shayna Baszler did at the Elimination Chamber, was that a little bit too much? Where people are like, oh, I don't even know what to do. She's an animal. I don't know if to boo or to cheer her. I don't like her either. Who is this woman? I mean, poor man, her name skips me, I'm sorry. The girl from the Riot Squad. Poor Liv Morgan. Poor Liv Morgan. Why am I going to cheer someone beating up poor Liv Morgan? Her skull going against the chain of the cage there, right? So I don't know. There's a little bit of disconnect. A little bit of disconnect, and just speaking on the women's division. Also, Paige will be set to appear on SmackDown. Paige, who has been on backstage, has been making her appearance there, will be supposedly on Friday night SmackDown. And what will we see of Paige? A lot of fans are saying, that, maybe she's going to be cleared to wrestle. Listen, I don't know about that. There's nothing that has been circulating on the interwebs to even make that suggestion. So sometimes it leaks. So that hasn't even leaked on the internet. So I wouldn't even go that far. I think this will be Bayley related. Something to do with Bayley. If you look at it, Bayley kind of is in limbo here. She really does not have an opponent yet for Wrestlemania, and I think that's what Paige's job is going to be. Is going to be to kind of provoke Bayley, maybe provoke her. They're saying that she hasn't beat. That she is going on as have one of the longest reigns here with her title. She thinks she's beaten everyone, but you haven't beaten everyone. You've been chicken, you've been coward, How come you haven't faced Sasha Banks? I don't know. It could be something like that. But then again, having Sasha Banks as a face, she's Sasha Banks is just a natural heel to me. I mean, but so that's the point I'm trying to get at. I could see something like that, you know, forming where, you know, Paige is there just to kind of be an instigator, right? Now listen, do I think Paige will, you know, maybe soon, maybe in the coming years, because I know medicine and technology has advanced, you know, maybe soon, maybe in the coming years, you will see Paige back in the squared circle, but I just don't see it now. It's been you know, fairly recent, so I just you know, I can't see Paige coming back just yet from her neck injury. Oh, we all want that, because geez, man, we know a lot. We could all be in agreement that that this division, women's division, is very thin. That it needs Paige. But you know, those are my thoughts and as to what we could expect from Paige. I also wanted to say as well that I think, you know, with you know, Matt Hardy there, who knows where he will be. He's been dropping hints all over the place. You know, but Matt Hardy said that, you know, he was trying to was pitching ideas. Well, he was trying to put over younger talent, and WWE just kind of said no. It comes a point in a place, I think, where literally just you know, maybe WWE just didn't have anything for him. It comes a point where, you know, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think that's where they are with Matt. I think they always looked at Jeff, who will be returning to SmackDown, as the greatest star. Last but not least, there, Eric Rowan. Kind of this whole angle has been dropped. Who knows what will happen with Eric Rowan now? But, you know, and the word is that Vince McMahon has dropped it. Lackluster, kind of uneventful reveal. And the spider was crushed. And I feel crushed for all you Eric Rowan fans as well. Really, what else can he do at this point? Sometimes just being tough and intimidating does not work, and maybe there's something more that you have to add, you know, on the mic. Hope all is well. Look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.